Now let's discuss the vertical and horizontal stretch or shrink. For you to understand that, I made this model that I would like you to see. Any vertical change is a change to the output or the y-axis. Any horizontal change is a change to the x or the input. So let's start from here and watch what happens to the line if there is a change to the y-axis or a vertical change, which is the output. If it gets closer to the y, that's called shrink because the line shrunk getting closer to the y-axis. And if I take it away from the y-axis, this is called a stretch. It's away from the y-axis. Now let's take it back and discuss the change to the x-axis. If I get closer to the x-axis, which means a change to the input, it's called a shrink. But if I take it away from the x-axis, it's called a stretch. So think about, is it a vertical change or a horizontal change? If it's a vertical change, is it closer to the y or is it away from the y-axis? If it's a horizontal change, is it closer to the x or away from the x? Now let's listen to the lesson and I know you'll be able to get it. F of x equal x plus 3. Multiply the input x by a constant that is more than 1. So the y equal f of a is the constant that I'm multiplying x with it, and watch how it's in parentheses in front of the f because it's only the x or the input. So the g of x, which is the new transformation, would be 4 times x plus 3 because we are multiplying it by 4. So here's the graph of the original one, f of x equal x plus 3. To graph it, make a table. You have x1, 0, and 3, but the g of x is the new one, 4x plus 3. You get those numbers. Now graph them with the green dots and then connect the dots. Watch how the line shrink horizontally by getting closer to the y-axis. So the line got closer to the y-axis, which makes it shrinks horizontally. The line is steeper because the slope is steeper, but the y-intercept stayed the same. Now let's see if we take the f of x equal x plus 3, but now I need to multiply it by a constant between 0 and 1. So more than 0, less than 1. Then you get y equal f. Again, the constant is a, but this time I needed 1/4 of x. So t of x, which is the new transformation, equals 1/4 of x plus 3. Make a table again where x is 4, 0, negative 4, and t of x is 1/4 of x plus 3, and plot them. Once you plot them, this is the red line. Watch how the line is stretched horizontally by getting farther away from the y-axis. The slope is less steep, but the y-intercept stayed the same. Now let's try and multiply the output by a number, more than 1. So if the original equation is f of x equal x plus 3, multiply the output, which is f of x, by a constant more than 1. Y equal a times f of x. A is the factor that I'm multiplying the whole equation by. You end up with gx, the new function after transformation, 2 times the whole f of x. Make a table so you know how the graph would work. X is 2, 0, and negative 2. Find f of x, then find the g of x, which is multiplying the f of x by 2. Plot the x and y on the same graph. Watch how the line this time is away from the axis. So that is called a vertical stretch. Now, what if I multiply by a factor between 0 and 1, which is a fraction, and this time I'm going to try 1/3. And you multiply in the whole equation by 1/3. Make a table again. X is 3, 0, and negative 6. I need f of x, which is x plus 3, but then I need 1/3 of each number. Let's graph it, x and the new t of x, which is the red line. Graph it. You end up with a vertical shrink because it is getting closer to the x-axis. Now let's take this to practice and see what happened to the f of x when it's transformed to the g of x and the h of x and how the graph would look like. The g of x is f, and then I'm in parentheses half of x. So is that a change to the y or to the x? That's a change to the x because it's inside or in front of the f, only the x, I need half of it. Since it's a change to the x, that's a horizontal because the x-axis is a horizontal change. So because it's less than 1, more than 0, so that is a stretch. Since we are multiplying the input by half, then it's a horizontal stretch by a factor of half. Look at the graph. Watch how it went out farther away from the y-axis, which means it's a horizontal stretch. Now, h of x, you multiply in 2 times f of x. So you multiply in 2 times the whole f of x. And since f of x is the output, so you multiply in the output by 2. Since the output is y, then I know it's a vertical change. But is that a stretch or a shrink? Since we are multiplying in the output y by 2, then it is a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. So today we talked about too many rules for transformation. The only 2 things you need to keep in mind, is it the change to the x, or the input, or is the change to the output f of x? Here's the translation, reflection, and stretch or shrink. There's too many rules. I can't go over it. It will take 10 minutes, but they right there in front of you. Combination of all 3 transformation is possible to create a new function. Thank you for listening. If you need a copy of this, please go for it. It will help you to understand how the transformation is happening. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.